Sometimes I found myself in a position where I've tried everything and nothing seems to work. But in these situations, I like to use what I call the 3-step process. And it digs into what has worked in the past and how those past lessons can be applied to the present moment. So the 3-step process are 3 questions you can ask yourself. The first question you can ask yourself is, what actions did I take in the past that worked for me? For instance, if you're working your project and things aren't going your way, think about a time when you were having a really good day on that project. What did you do that day? What type of warm-up did you do? What was the approach like? These actions that you took in the past may or may not have led to you having a good day that day, but it's important to just think about the actions and associate the positive outcome with that particularly good day. And then the second question you ask yourself is, what about you made that day really good? And so we bring ourselves from these actions, which are external and outside of ourselves, to the internal thoughts and emotions of what went on in your head. What about you made that day really good? Did you wake up that morning and think, wow, I'm just really grateful for today, and I'm going to my project with low expectations, and maybe I called my parents and had a great conversation totally unrelated to climbing, or I felt really peaceful and relaxed on that particular day. Whatever it was about you on that good day, recall those feelings and recall those thoughts and emotions. So that brings us to our third question of what past processes on those particularly good days worked, and how can we apply those processes to the present moment? There's actions that we can take and also internal reframing that we can think of that can help us in the moment. Now, it's important to distinguish that what happened in the past has to stay in the past. We can't change what happened back then and magically create that same exact scenario in the present moment. But we have control over the present moment to make it in a way that's productive to us. For instance, if you're at your project and you're feeling a little bit down or things aren't quite working as well as they did before, think about an action that you can take that can help change the moment. For instance, you might need to go to the bathroom because it'll make you feel a little bit lighter. Or you might want to do that same warm-up routine that you did before because it really helps warm up the fingers and the shoulders. Or maybe the holds aren't feeling so great in that moment. One technique I really like to do is to grab the holds and feel the sensation of the rock underneath your fingers, and then close your eyes and focus only on what the holds feel like without actually having to look at them. This creates a sensory connection between your body and the holds without your visual mind getting in the way, whether that's, oh, this hold is too slopey or too crimpy. It just helps to get that body connection to the holds in that one moment. Those are a few examples of an action that you can take. And now think about what type of reframing, what type of thoughts are you having that you can also change. If you think, well, I'm just too weak today, or I'm too short for this move, or I just can't do it, it's okay to have those thoughts and to sit with them. It's okay to acknowledge them and to really feel the frustration or the annoyance or that sense of anger where we're not meeting the expectations that we set for ourselves. But sitting in those emotions forever isn't productive either. So after acknowledging the actions that you can take, you think about the feelings that you're having, and you say, okay, it's okay to be angry and upset right now. Feel those emotions, take a deep breath, and then think, what would be a really productive thought pattern or feeling that I could have right now even if it's not exactly what I set out to do at the beginning. The three-step process really connects back to the mental blocks that we touched on earlier. The limiting beliefs that we have about ourselves is connected to the actions that we can take to combat the things that are outside of our control. Again, whether that's height or weather or however we're feeling during that day. But the stories and the interpretations are also connected to the feelings that we are having in that moment. So the story and the interpretation that we told ourselves on that really good day might be a different story or interpretation on the day where we're not feeling so great. So acknowledging and recognizing what that interpretation is in the moment, and acknowledging the feelings that we're having, whether that's frustration or anger or irritation, that's all completely valid and normal experiences. So reminding yourself, okay, it makes sense that I'm not doing as well on my project today, and so I'm mad about it. But then thinking of a different interpretation and a different story in that moment can help reframe the entire experience. So acknowledging that, I set out with this expectation in mind. I wanted to get to this point on my project, but that's not happening today. And that's okay. Setting a different interpretation and a different expectation for yourself, maybe one that's a little bit more achievable, will help with the mental process at the end of the day. So saying, you know what, I didn't reach my high point today, but I'm going to aim for a lower point. I'm going to focus on this one move that I had some trouble on last time. Or I'm just going to do this climb in 3 separate parts. I'm going to do the start, and then I'm going to do the middle, and then I'm going to do the top. 3 separate areas. Another example of goal setting in that present moment that you have control over.